All you want is consciousness. Oh my God. I'll say it a million times. I will. I honestly will. All you want is consciousness. When you get consciousness, you just know. You just know. It's so obvious. It's also like when you don't have it, you know, okay, I definitely don't have it right now, right? But when you have it, you're like, I'm back. I'm back. Yeah? And like you might think like, dude, like how often do you have this? This sounds amazing. And like, I'll be completely real with you, man. Like this morning I felt absolutely shit. I did not have any high consciousness. I barely even had like, you know, a stable level. Like it was really just, I just was in a shit state, right? And that happens. And the beautiful thing about consciousness is if it was like a dial, it can be turned anytime. You can have just random shifts. Now, I don't want to mislead you and say, oh yeah, don't worry, you'll just have random shifts. You probably won't. Like the way that you have that is by, in my experience, is by deliberate spiritual practice, is by microdosing, is by doing really hard things that make your fear dissolve. So you know when you've done something and you actually feel just completely liberated afterwards, that you can gain consciousness by doing that. Why does that happen? Because you know the answer here. You're facing reality. Reality is God. Reality is truth. Reality is love. I'm not just fucking saying that. Like you have to understand when you go towards it, the thing that you might be a bit scared of. Behind that is love. Behind that is good state. Behind that is good consciousness. Now I know that I've said that you just will know that you have it. And that's true. But also I want to give you some pointers to help you understand like, okay, this is what consciousness feels like, right? And I say understand, we maybe should be specific with our language here, because in a sense, it's even more direct. Like most people's understanding happens on a kind of cognitive mental level, maybe like a conceptual level. But you gotta know, consciousness is not a fucking concept, okay? If you study consciousness or whatever, sure, whatever, man. But you want to experience consciousness directly. Yeah, directly. Get as direct as you possibly can. In fact, if it's not direct, fuck, man. It's not that you should give up or anything, but you should be like, oh, okay, it's not direct. I'm studying texts. I'm reading books. Whatever. You can do those things and they can actually shift your state. But you want to start to realize, okay, well, direct consciousness is it. And indirect learning, studying, or modeling or mapping consciousness is not it. Is not it. It's not it though. Yeah? At some point it will become really clear for you. Really clear. In fact, in my experience, the more experiences that you have of direct consciousness, the more you kind of like separate yourself from the concept of it. Yeah? In other words, we learn by distinction, right? When something is contrasted against another thing. Two things that are different. Yeah? We know that this thing is this thing and this thing is this thing. The more experience you have, oh, it's this, it's definitely this, it's not this. Because you always thought it was this, like spiritual teachers point it out and you experience it as this. Because when spiritual teachers speak, you hear, you formulate concepts in your mind because your mind is like a sense-making machine. It's always trying to make sense of stuff, yeah? So of course, when we throw in this spirituality stuff, to the mind, to the ego mind, even the conceptual mind, it's not like different. Yeah, you've got to realize you've always filtered this information and you've thought of that as spirituality. Do you want me to be completely honest? That is not spirituality. Spirituality is like crying on your own because you've realized God. Spirituality is like realizing, oh my God, I don't exist. Spirituality is unlearning a bunch of stuff that you learned and then replacing it with direct consciousness, direct presence. I know what you're going to be thinking, dude, how do I get this direct consciousness? How do I get it? Like fucking Gollum, right? Oh man, I've been this Gollum for like ages, dude. Okay, I used to always chase meditation highs. Like the slightly higher experience that you get after a meditation. That was my my way in to get these states. But what I've noticed is that, and this is really key for you to know, The more you spiritually develop yourself, the more likely you are to experience a higher state of consciousness. In other words, dude, the further that you are down the path, the more likely you are to feel these experiences, the more likely that you are to have them. Really, you're just making it more and more and more easy for consciousness to experience itself. When I say that, make sure that you understand that you are consciousness. You've heard that a million times, I know. But start to intuit it, start to contemplate it, start to like feel it, yeah? I spent a long time just hearing that, over and over and over. And like when you hear it, you got to understand, like you can hear it from different places. You can hear it from, oh yeah, no, I already know that. I know that I'm consciousness, don't worry. Or you can be like, I'm hearing that I'm conscious. Okay, well let me check that with my experience. Let me see, am I conscious? Okay. Shit, I am. As always, man, everything comes back to direct experience. And as you can imagine, if you do that, which we could call almost self-inquiry, if you're like checking that you are conscious, imagine if you did that thousands of times and you kind of almost learned experientially, like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, I am awake, I am conscious. What would happen is it would begin to sink in. You'd start to actually get it. Yeah, because like you on the deeper level are getting it, you see? It's almost like you are training your God self to remember itself. And you're doing it over and over and over again.